Unbelievable. Don't try this at home, folks. We're high tech. I'm Tommy, and this is the Lifeboat. You are on it. Nina, good to see you. Just Joan, how are you? Renee B, on time. I'm actually, what do you know? I'm a little late. You were on time. All right, people. This is what happens around the true crime arena when there's no news that comes out. Obviously, hey, Edward, I'm reporting on everything that comes out on the Nick Reiner case. This is something that this is a case that I absolutely am involved in terms of telling the story, right? And I'm going to stay involved in it. So it is one of those things that obviously I'll be following. But what happens is when they don't release any kind of information, then you end up with some theories that come out that, good Lord, man. Taylor, how are you? And it's gaining traction. There are a lot of people right now across the country who are screaming that Nick Reiner, this is a frame job, that Nick Reiner didn't do this and that he is being framed. Now, there's a bunch of different conspiracy theories surrounding this. Some of them have to do with the family. Hey, Tennessee girl, Taylor Miller, how are you? Some have to do with the family. They think that the sister did it and that she's pinning it on him. Hey, Joanne Adams, I'm glad you're here. Some of them are not dealing with that. Some of them are a larger conspiracy, that this is a CIA operation and that this was them killing Rob Reiner because of how much trouble he was bringing the Trump administration. He was planning on doing a big tell-all on the Epstein files, and that's the reason that he had to die. The people that believe that theory, the political side of it, the one that think Trump has something to do with this, they believe that the programming that took place is a programming that is direct to skull. So you put in a device in like a filling or whatever, and then you can just pump directly into the person's skull the orders, go kill Rob, like this kind of shit. This theory has been debunked by everybody on planet Earth simply because talking to somebody doesn't make someone kill somebody. If you began to have voices in your head that were saying things like, hey, go kill him. You don't go kill him. You go to the doctor and go, I'm hearing voices, right? That's what normally would have happened, which means you got to have a doctor in place, right? You don't know which doctor he's going to go to. It doesn't pass the smell test, people. It's absolutely patently absurd. No Nancy updates. I just watched that show and screamed through most of it. Well, how about that? Hey, I'll tell you what, though. There's a show out there that's pumping this conspiracy theory on Nick Reiner. I'm not going to say the name of the show because I'm not trying to give anybody any traction, nor am I trying to hurt any content creators. But I watched 3 of this guy's shows. And first of all, one of the things that people are saying is Manchurian Candidate. Just real briefly, I'll finish this thought and then I'll get on to Nick. Manchurian Candidate. You know, this is more logical. But if you study this, and guess who has, right? The first thing I ever FOIA'd was MK Ultra. MK Ultra was the idea of we're going to create a Manchurian Candidate. We're going to create somebody that we can remote drive. We can make the person from here go do whatever it is we want them to do. And the theory behind it is you make somebody disassociate so badly with one personality that you can train another one. You can basically correspond with one personality and get them to do whatever you want and have it done on demand. You can make those personalities switch. In all cases of them trying this, they would have to give somebody incredible amounts of dope. Off topic, new note just delivered to Tucson radio station. B. Enton, Brian Enton. Police back at the house and forced reporters to move from in front of the house. Interesting. Thank you, Edward. I will be talking about this late night tonight. Might be 10 o'clock. I don't know because my wife has not gone live yet, so I don't know exactly when I'll be going. But I'm going to be doing a late night show on all of the updates in the Guthrie case. I promise. But in order to make a Manchurian Candidate, you had to give the person unbelievable amounts of drugs, usually for over 100 days. Some horror stories about them giving LSD to somebody every single day for almost a year. But 170 days, 174 days, 177 days. This was standard operating procedure. So Nick Reiner, when people say, well, he could have been programmed at the rehabs. No, he couldn't have. Those rehabs were 28-day stays. They were spin dries. He was not in there very long. right? You would have needed a lot more time than that. And you would have had to have separated him from everybody else. Because one of the first things that you do as you're doping these people up is you do sleep deprivation. You make sure, and sensory deprivation in all honesty, but minimum sleep. So you're not letting them sleep. You're also, while that's going on, you've got the voice coming in saying, you're going to kill your father. The rehabs ended long before Trump was ever president. So they were programming him to make him a killer just on the come line that maybe someday Trump would end up president and he would be hunted down by Rob Reiner. It's patently absurd. But the ones that seem to be gaining traction aren't telling you why. Can't do that today. The ones that are gaining traction are just telling you it's a conspiracy. They don't want to explain why this conspiracy would be taking place. But one of the big ones is this. They're saying that the Pierside Hotel, he didn't check in on the Pierside on Sunday night. He checked in on Monday. People, I swear to God, you can't make this stuff up. The party, let's go over the timeline because this person keeps repeating this over and over and over and over again. Hold on one second. And it's patently absurd because we're not talking about that many days. The Conan O'Brien party was Saturday night. Going into Sunday morning. If you stayed there past midnight, it was a Saturday and Sunday party. You with me on this? Okay. So they go and they check in at midnight. I mean, he goes and checks in the middle of the night on Sunday night. The question isn't whether or not he went there on the day of the murders. It's whether or not he went there before the murder or after the murder. But it was Sunday. Saturday was the party. Sunday was there. They arrested him Sunday. What the hell are they talking about? What night do you think he was there? He was arrested Sunday night. Taylor, you're in great hands. Baby will come out great. Both myself and my late sister were operated on at birth. I'll be 47 in April. I don't talk about this very often on the show, but I will tell you this. I have a child that was born with a genetic heart defect where she would only have 2 parts of her heart instead of 4. It's called hyperplastic left heart syndrome. It's incredibly rare. And my daughter was born with it. And they told us that she was going to come out with no ability to breathe. Her heart wouldn't be beating. She came out, screamed at the top of her lungs. And I said to the doctor, I thought you said, he goes, yeah, I don't have any idea what's going on. But she is 21 years old and killing it. She's got a great life. She's in college. Actually, she'll be 21 in April. I'm sorry. She's not 21 yet. But yeah, you're in good hands, Taylor. It should ease you, and you're going to have so many people praying for you. It's going to be ridiculous. Got a lot of family here, Taylor Miller. So let's get to this here. Saturday, December the 13th, Rob Reiner, Michelle Singer Reiner, and Nick attended a holiday party at Conan O'Brien's house. Witnesses described him as acting erratic or crazy. One of the conspiracy theories is they gave him a drug at that party to turn him into a murderer. Out of curiosity, what drug do you do that with? I'm not shitting you. I'm very curious. What drug do you give someone that goes like this? Now they're going to go home and kill somebody. And how do you know who they're going to kill? You got to put stuff to critical thinking. If there's a drug that can make you kill somebody, it isn't going to imprint on you who needs to be killed. You could give that person that drug and they could whack someone on the way home. You want them to kill Rob Reiner, you'd have to be a little bit more specific, right? You'd have to be going for a Manchurian candidate thing. You'd have to be going for a remote driving, right? Where you are controlling this person at a distance. But people want to believe, right? They want to believe. And I'm not mad at them for that. But for God's sakes, believe something with a little bit of meat on the bone, something you can sink your teeth into. Sunday morning, December the 14th, same night as the party, later in the evening. It has gone from the 13th to the 14th. At around 4 a.m., Nick checked into the Pierside Santa Monica Hotel about 5 miles from his parents' home. Eyewitness described him as appearing tweaked out, but without visible signs of injury. Later that morning, hotel housekeepers reportedly found blood in the shower and on the bed in his room, suggesting possible involvement in a violent incident, though exact timing relative to the murders is unclear. Still Sunday, December the 14th, sometime before 3:30 p.m., the murders occurred at the Reiner's Brentwood home. Rob, 78, Michelle, 70, were fatally stabbed multiple times with their throats slit in what was described as gruesome, and a bloody scene. In fact, it was also described by one officer as being like a Hollywood slasher film. No joke, that's a quote. There were no signs of forced entry, indicating that the perpetrator likely had access to the home. Authorities believe the killings happened after Nick left the hotel and returned to the property. My goodness. Finally caught alive. I live in Thailand, so the time difference is much sometimes, but thanks for your content. It's a perfect mix between true crime and relating it to addiction in most cases. You're one of the best, Tommies. Alex, congratulations for living abroad, right? You're living in Thailand. That's awesome. I've been there. Wasn't my cup of tea, but I'll tell you what, the cost of living was absolutely amazing. And look at that, people. It looks like 1,000. That's bot, if I'm correct. Isn't that right? Thank you for the support. It means the world to me. Alice in Wonderland is an MK Ultra script. Yeah, they certainly used it a lot for a lot of things too. Alice is, we say things every day that are Alice in Wonderland and we don't even think about it, right? We do that biblically too. The writing on the wall, right, that comes directly from the Bible. Curiouser and curiouser. How far down the rabbit hole? How often do we say that, right? Well, how far down the rabbit hole are you going to go? There's a lot. It's huge, but I like that reference, Dogface Pony Soldier. And look at that, 1,000. So all of you Americans, keep that in mind. That 1,000, that's got the punch. Looks fantastic. I love that color. Thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate that. The question becomes, did he commit the murder before or after he went to the hotel? I don't think that there's any other question. How does the blood get in the hotel room if he had not done the murders first? That doesn't make sense, right? So he may have gone, got the hotel, headed back, committed the murder, used a different stairway to go up to his room because now he has a key. He doesn't have to go by the front desk, right? He could go in from any other entrance and take a hotel up. If there was a mind control, it would be through devices, probably doom scrolling and heavy drug use did it. I think doom scrolling, and if you're not familiar with that, you can look at stuff online and just keep riling yourself up and riling yourself up and riling yourself up. I think that heavy drug use was involved. The fact that he went in there and put something up over the windows. Do me a favor. Put a 2 in the chat if you have been cursed to have to go and make business trips or spend a lot of time in hotels. Because there's not a hotel anywhere on the North American part of the country that doesn't have blackout blinds, right? They already have blinds on there that if you cover the windows, you can sleep at 11 o'clock. I was a public speaker. I used to sleep all day long. We'd stay up all night. And I mean, you can black out the sun. Why the hell do you feel the need to go put up sheets or blankets over the window? And the answer to that question is, it's just what tweakers do. It's what tweakers do. There's that whole nesting thing. As soon as they get going, like I knew a bunch of tweakers in my life. There's no getting around it. I spent a lot of my life on drugs, and I knew a bunch of tweakers. And I knew one that would come in, and the first thing he would do was balance a beer bottle on the door knob. And he would lean it up against the door frame. So if somebody checked the door, that would drop to the ground and break. And it sounds like a great idea. At least 3 times over the course of the time that I knew that guy, something caused it to fall that wasn't somebody on the other side of the door. So we had to clean up a broken beer bottle. And this guy was so tweaked for the rest of the night, you couldn't talk to him. My mom does that, but she's a night shift nurse. Well, look, there are people that are going to black out windows, right? But it's weird to do it if there's already a blackout curtain there. But I promise you, Nick went in. If there was a peephole in that door, he probably took the cigarette butt, stuck it in the peephole. These are things I've watched tweakers do my entire life. They're so convinced that the whole world is looking at them. I talked about this once before, but I went to this particular tweaker was on cocaine. He was injecting it. But we were pulling up. I picked this guy up in Boston. We drove to Natick, which is a good haul out of Boston. And he goes, hey, don't say anything weird that would make the desk clerk worry about us. We were checking in at a hotel. I was like, okay. Now, keep in mind, I hadn't done any blow yet. I'm the only guy there normal. The other 2 are weirdos. But the person goes, hey, can I see some ID? My friend hands it across to him. And the third person, the guy that gave me the advice, looked at the woman and goes, why are you looking so perplexing? And I just thought, holy shit, way to keep it cool. She doesn't think you're a weirdo. Yeah, in the peephole. Paranoid much? It does this. It causes paranoia. It's one of the first side effects of prolonged use. So don't leave me a comment and say, I did a bunch of meth. I never got weird. you probably also came down. But if you stay awake for a long enough period of time, you begin to think that everybody's looking at you. You begin to think everybody's out to get you. You begin doom scrolling, whether you're looking at a keyboard or a phone or not. You begin to go down rabbit holes in your brain that are very, very unhealthy. But currently, this chunk of shit theory is gaining all kinds of traction. And the people are saying he didn't really check into the hotel on Sunday. He checked in the night after the murders. That is the night after the murders. He checked in and was caught within 24 hours. I don't know how you can just keep running with a narrative that's horseshit. And if what you want to say is they're lying about the dates at the pier side, that still doesn't change that the 14th, the 14th, the party took place. The 15th, the murder took place, right? And on the 14th, the murder, the arrest, and everything was found out on the 14th. Party was the 13th. On the 14th, they were killed. We know that, not sure a time of death, but we know that they were killed on the 14th, and they were found roughly at 3 p.m. on the 14th. They already had Nick before midnight that night. So when was this trip to the hotel that had nothing to do with the night of the murders? If you want to believe that this guy was framed, then you got to believe that the cops that went to that hotel room are in on the frame job, right? There's blood found in the hotel room. You can trust and believe they're going to test that blood. And unless Nick cut his own hands, then that blood is going to come back to his parents. There's going to be trace evidence of some kind in that hotel room, and they're going to find it. So we have to believe that the cops are in on it. You follow where I'm going with this? It's not freaking logical. And I'll tell you what, if you believe that Trump did it, then you're too much of an ideologue to be any good at any kind of critical thinking. Seriously, if your first thought to every crime is Trump did this, then your ideology is way too much. And I don't give a shit. I'm not a fan of the guy. But for God's sakes, the first thought ought to be, okay, let's do what we normally do. First thing you do is look at family. Does anybody in the family have a reason to want to kill this guy? Well, this kid's kind of been a dick, and he's kind of been open and out about the fact that he hates his parents, his father in particular. So should we go with Occam's razor, or should we go with the wildest harebrained scheme in the world and ignore the fact that this kid says he hates his dad, right? This kid's got a vicious drug problem. This kid got sent to rehabs, and he feels like being sent to those rehabs were his parents abandoning him. And he's bitter as all hell over it, right? Wicked bitter. Around 9:15 p.m. on the night of December 14th, Nick was located near a metro station by the University of Southern California campus, 15 miles from the crime scene. With assistance from the U.S. Marshals, he was arrested on suspicion of murder and booked into jail with no bail. So when is this event that happened? He didn't really check into the hotel room that night. I'm telling you, people, I'm telling you these stories because this jackwagon is getting traction. There are other channels that are now running with this. Plus, he stood to inherit the bulk of the estate. Yeah, that's got that is a motive. Nick Reiner doesn't know what a great actor he is. Here's the thing with Nick Reiner. People, the question isn't whether or not Nick Reiner did this, right? That's not the question. The question is, why did he do it? When did he do it, right? How did he do it? The fact that there's blood in that hotel room, nobody there went, yeah, a bunch of other people came traipsing through here. Nick went into that hotel room. I think that, and a lot of people have suggested this, that he went and got the hotel room first. That's wicked premeditation, by the way. If you went and got the hotel room planning to kill your parents and run back to the hotel room to clean up, that's some serious premeditation. I don't know whether or not that's the truth, but it seems to be gaining traction with a lot of people. Nick was definitely tweaking, but he was still rational enough to clean up, get a hotel room, clean up again, and then go out to get more drugs. Insanity isn't ringing true for me, not at all. Me either. And he got rid of the murder weapon, says Ed. Sure as hell. I mean, according to everything that the police are saying on this, they have yet to identify the murder weapon. Okay. Probably the dude that did it has the murder weapon, and he's framing poor Nick. He got Nick to go get a hotel room. Nick never does that. Nick always stays at the guest house in the parents' home, right? By all accounts, he never would have gone and gotten a hotel room. Why did he do that? Well, he had to help out the people that were framing him, who were then going to go and sneak out while he was getting dope and sprinkle some blood around, right? To make sure that Nick got hemmed up for this. Why again? Why are they doing this? Well, why not just kill the old man? I'm not trying to be a dick. But if you're putting this to critical thinking, you want to get rid of him because he's about to make, this is the theory, don't yell at me. You want to get rid of him because he's about to do a big expose on the Epstein files. And this is going to get Trump in trouble, so he's got to get killed. Why not just whack the mother and the father? You could have somebody walk up with a silenced pistol and give him one in the back of the head and walk away from the house. Why not? You would rather take, if you're believing this bullshit theory, you would rather leave his son alive, right? He may snap, right? You make a Manchurian candidate, you still want to do something about them afterwards, because if not, they could snap and go, holy crap, you know what? I got brought to this little room and these guys were giving me drugs, and this one guy in a lab coat kept telling me this over and over and over and over again. Yeah, this is it, right? Instead of just whacking the person, let's put somebody else in there, right? Let's put somebody else in there that we could risk going off the rails and incriminating us in our attempt to kill this person. That doesn't pass the smell test. Doesn't pass the smell test. And somebody else did the murder, but they did it so violently, right, that all experts involved go, this is a crime of passion. Crime of passion comes in two different ways. One is literally you come home and find your girl in bed with somebody else and you snap and you kill the person, right? The next type of crime of passion is when years have gone by and there is so much anger and so much aggravation that you literally are going to whack this person in a way that is just the ugliest shit in the world. What do you think of the shot once a month? You are referring to the Suboxone shot once a month. It's called Sublocade. People have had an amazing amount of success with it. Rox, what I will say to you, and I'm glad to see you here tonight in a very big way, puts a smile on my soul. But what I would say is this. Everyone I know that has done this and done it successfully, first time you go in, take that shot, right? The next time you go in, ask the doctor to push some out. 1 cc, half a cc, whatever. Because from everyone I've talked to, that shot is so strong that for the first day or two, you're going to be kind of doing the nod. And you don't need as much as they're giving you. So if you can get the doctor to start cutting down, it gets easier to transition off of it. But take it for the rest of your life. Who cares if you transition off it, right? Other than that first day, and that'll just be a matter of you getting used to it. That first day of the shot, they're giving you a 30-day supply of buprenorphine under the skin. That's a lot, right? I did not see your first text, but that would be my only advice on that, right? That's kind of an important thing. And I'm sorry, people, if it seems I'm getting off of subject, but I will always get off subject if someone is talking about trying to get sober. It is what it is. There are people that can't take it, and I respect that. There's a lot of people out there that talk about true crime, but this is a passion of mine. One of the reasons that I'm covering this case the way that I'm doing it is because this brings up a lot of discussion about drugs and You failed. Well, I'm glad that you failed. I don't want you gone. And please, that's a permanent solution to a part-time problem, right? We don't kill ourselves because we're pissed off about today. We figure out tomorrow what's going to happen. You know what? That's not failing. I thought you meant taking your life. You went 34 days and you couldn't do another. Great. So you stumbled, right? Dope sick sucks. You went out and got high. Oh, no. I'm sorry. It's not the end of the world. Right? I've been sober going on 11 years. You know how many times I relapsed? If I had $1 for every time I relapsed, I wouldn't need your super chats. You know, it's part of the game. I'm glad that you're still with us. I would much rather have you use than kill yourself. I'm sorry. You said some things yesterday that scared the shit out of me. Don't buy into these crazy theories based simply on the fact that we are not here. Right? We're not hearing any of the new information coming out. Right? That's horrible. Not hearing information makes our brains do this one. I'm doing it. You're doing it. We're doing it on the Nancy Guthrie case. True crime is most people standing around going, is this is this a conspiracy? Are we getting lied to? Yeah, that's not failing. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. What did I miss here? Yeah, that's not failing. You don't walk in the lake. Don't walk in the lake. I promise you this too shall pass. You know how many times I wanted to take myself out? And I have a very happy life. I love everything about where I'm at. But if you had told me 6 years ago I would love everything about my life, I'd have told you you're full of shit. You just have to keep fighting. The reason that Trump is mentioned is because everybody hates Donald Trump. And we're not getting any news. So there's a couple of channels. They're not big channels. They're about the size of me, right? They're small channels that talk about true crime and almost always take the other side, right? Koberger didn't do it. It's one of those channels that always takes the other side. And they're saying that Nick is being framed, and more than likely because his father was about to come out with a video about Epstein. It was going to make Trump look really bad. So Trump uses the CIA to take the kid, turn him into a Manchurian candidate to kill the father. Because shit, that's the most logical explanation for this crime, isn't it? There are political people I've hated over the course of my life. I never wanted to turn them into the answer to every problem on earth, right? What's going wrong? This dude's fault. If that's you, you gotta reevaluate. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. I promise you, that's going to be the answer you want. And Sublocade might be the holy grail for you. You don't have to put something under your tongue every day. As insignificant as it seems to have to take medication every day, once you stop taking medication every day, you'll forget you got a drug problem. The more you forget you got a drug problem, the easier it is to get back to life. Here's a really good question, isn't it? Isn't this a really good question? Why is TMZ in everything lately, right? Of late, every single thing. Harvey Levin could not be happier that he's smack dab in the middle of this shit, right? This is TMZ, right in the middle of Diddy, right in the middle of everything that's going on, because they are the biggest. Hey, Ashley G, they're the biggest of the true crime people out there, whether we like that or not. They're the king. And they have sources, right? By the way, one of the other conspiracy channels is saying every time they say sources close to the family, they're talking about an assistant whose name was Rocco. And they show a video of this guy out at the scene on the day of the 14th. This is the day the bodies were found. And they're frantic. And the guy says, he just seems off. Holy shit, you just found out your boss got murdered. You might be off, right? It's like the blink rate of Savannah Guthrie's sister, right? If you watch the video where they were talking and trying to communicate directly with the kidnappers, her eyes were doing this number, and her blink rate was through the roof. Now, could that show deception? Yeah. Could it show consciousness of guilt, right? Mens rea? Yeah. Could it just be that you're scared shitless that your mom has disappeared? You're not used to doing videos like this, and now you got to sit next to your sister who's a friggin' stud, right? One of the best public speakers you're going to come across. And maybe that intimidation is doing something for you. I swear I saw Rocco in the past months. Seems like a joke. Yeah, if TMZ is messing around with the Guthrie case, Harvey should go to jail. Well, here's the thing. I believe that there was a ransom note sent to TMZ. I also believe that TMZ wanted to get that note out before they ever reached out to the authorities. I think that's who Harvey Levin is. I think it's disgusting, right? But it's kind of the nature of Harvey Levin. I also believe that Harvey picks a side instantly. Believe it or not, I don't. I can be swayed. I can look at evidence that on the Guthrie case, I don't know. I don't know if this is real or not. I have not picked a side. I think that if it's real, it's amateur hour. There's a lot done that's just really, really messed up. Look, he could go to jail or play highlight. Either way, Doug Lover, we're cool. I knew what you meant. I can't pick a side. Harvey picks a side before anything happens. Harvey's like, this dude, not guilty by reason of insanity. Then he goes out to find facts to fit that narrative. And the proof of this is pretty obvious, right? He comes out and says, I found a case where the guy knew that what he was doing was wrong. He premeditated it. He killed his son. He called. And the first thing he said to the police is, I'm going to go to jail for the rest of my life for this. He knew what he did was wrong, but he got out on not guilty by reason of insanity. In Canada. You had to go to Canada to find a case to justify what the hell you're saying. We're in America. Find me a case in America that's the exact same thing. You can't. So instead of saying, maybe this isn't going to be not guilty by reason of insanity, and by the U.S. standards, this doesn't rise to the McNaughton rule, instead of going that route, he's just like, I'll find something in Bangladesh, and I'll bring it in here and show that, look, see, it doesn't make any sense. 38 likes and 171 people in here. Well, that's just shameful. You don't want Brock Bandy pissed at you. Do me a favor, people. Hit that thumbs up. If you have not hit subscribe, do so. I cover true crime, and I cover it just a little different. Addicts are the spider in the web, and people in their lives are insects. Yeah, not by design, but I most assuredly was that person. Right? I spent 30 years addicted to heroin. I like to think of it more in terms of it's a disease, and it's the only disease out there where the symptoms affect other people, not just the folks that have the disease. You know, if you have diabetes, my mouth isn't going to go dry. Your mouth is going to go dry. But if I'm a heroin addict, there's a good chance your finances are going to be affected because I'm trying to take your money. Your mental stability is going to be affected because I'm constantly in trouble or doing things that are going to stress you out. But I understand exactly what you're saying. Addicts are tough to be around, man. When money is more important than truth, you get TMZ. Boy, there's something to that, man. But we're not going to get information every day on the Nick Reiner case. There's just not much more that is going to come out until we get the first court case. Believe it or not, folks, he has not yet pled guilty or innocent, right? The arraignment isn't even going to happen until February 23rd. That's hard to wrap your brain around, right? It's amazing how many people seem to be in the Epstein list. Seems like we hear about someone and then, oh yeah, they were listed. Here's the thing on that, and this is important. Somebody reached out and said to me, what's happening in Tucson, Arizona right now with Nancy Guthrie is happening because the daughter is in the Epstein files. No shit. And this is all part of that same thing, and this is a cover up and blah, blah, blah. There are people who are named in the Epstein files because Epstein writes in a letter, or somebody writes in a letter to Epstein, hey, could we reach out to Harvey Levin? Like TMZ covers this kind of stuff. Or what about that Guthrie woman? She seems like she's very articulate. That doesn't make her a child molester. That doesn't make Harvey Levin, who I can't stand, a child molester. He is mentioned in the files, right? Jay-Z is mentioned in the files. They're not saying, hey, we hung out, he came to the island, we were banging kids. But that's the way people run with it. And people hear this and then they reach out to me and go, Savannah Guthrie's in those files. She's a child molester. Oh my God, no, she's not. The reference literally says, is this someone we could reach out to for help? Right? It's somebody in the media. Could we reach out to this person? That does not rise to the level of you were at his island. You knew the guy. There's none of that. And the people will go, you get that. Why the hell would they pick her or him then? Because these people hung out at parties with ultra rich, ultra famous people. He may have walked up to her once and said, hey, I watch you on the Today Show, or I watch you on Court TV. And she goes, oh, nice to meet you. Who are you? Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Savannah Guthrie. That's it. It could be nothing more than that. It's like the Diddy case, right? Hey, you know who's in those, you know who was at a Diddy party? Everybody in North America that was famous, right? Especially if you include his birthday. They literally sent invitations out to anybody A-list, anybody, and then B-listers and then music people. It doesn't prove that these people hung out with Diddy. Yes, they went to a party. So now, ipso facto, he went to a party, must have stayed late, must have done drugs, must have had sex with kids, and must have raped somebody. Boy, that's a stretch, man. Hey, Kristen Melinda, good to see you. That's a stretch. We got to be really careful with this because as true crime people, we're going to get droughts of information. We're not going to get a lot on Nick between now and the 23rd of February. But make no mistake, Harvey Levin and people like him are reaching out and looking for any word anywhere. They're literally using AI to find anybody that might have written an article about being at such and such a rehab during such and such a time so that they can then go try to find that person and go, hey, you were there. You were at the rehab the same time as Nick Reiner. What can you tell me about him? I was watching some video on it today, and there was an old classmate of his. They're interviewing this classmate who says, this is not the guy I knew. He was a great guy. This is being used by the conspiracy guys. He doesn't say when he was his classmate. So I started deep diving it, doing a little research. He knew Nick from 7th grade. You think I'm the same cat I was in 7th grade? Huh? For real. Do you think going and finding someone that knew me from 7th grade would enable that person to tell you a lot about who Tommy Scoville is? Because I assure you that wouldn't fly. They would tell you that I was a sweet kid. They'd also tell you I wasn't very big, right? Small guy. He's about 5'5", weighed about 130 pounds. I'm 6'2". I weigh 220. A lot happens from 7th grade, right, to adulthood. But if we bite, if we take the bite every time, like somebody goes, hey, this is a conspiracy, and we go, huh? Tell me about it. Your first thought should be on all of it, just the same way that your first thought should have been, I don't believe the kid did it, right? Innocent until proven guilty. Then we find out about the peer side. By the time I had done the first video I did on this, they already found the blood, right, inside the hotel room that he booked alone in his name. Okay, I'm leaning really hard to this kid did it, right? And then we start to deep dive and we find out that this kid has had, 18 stays in rehabs, and that the people that he talked to at rehabs, he would say, I hate my father. Okay. Now we're starting to lean in the maybe this kid did it direction. But there are so many people, and there are people on my channel. I love you all. Honest to God, I do, right? As long as we're right here. I love all of you. I trust all of you, all of it. But there are people who are going to believe anything that comes down the pike if it smuts up the other political party. Nick Reiner killing his father had zero to do with Republicans or Democrats. And I'd be willing to bet just about any amount of money that we're going to find out the same thing in the Nancy Guthrie case. These things don't all rise to that level. Everything is not a conspiracy theory. Sometimes it's just a dumb criminal that wants millions of dollars, right? Sometimes it's just criminals. Sometimes it's just a junkie that gets too high, right? Yeah, that book will come out one day. And here's the thing. I would say within a month or two, I will be able to tell you exactly why it hasn't come out. And you'll go, oh, that makes sense. But Johnny and I are in the process. We were going to self-publish that book. We may not do that. We're talking to a publishing house. Side note, just wait until you see what Levin is saying now. Go figure. But you have to also understand that Harvey Levin finds himself in such a unique position, right? Harvey can come out today and say, Nick was only doing drugs that were prescribed to him. Family sources, people we know that are very close to this, said that he is not doing anything but the drugs he's prescribed. 7 days later, he can make a video that says this was a meth-fueled murder. And there's no consequence. I do that. I got such a small audience that I'm going to have to look at MJ. I'm going to have to look at Ashley. I'm going to have to look at Barbara Waite. I'm going to have to look at Tennessee Girl. I'm going to look at Dog Lover. These are people that know me. Harvey ain't checking his comments, and he doesn't give a shit. Because if he does a video that makes 3.5 million views, he's making 20 or 30 grand on that video, right? He's doing all right. Then he's got a channel, and he's all over the place, man. That man is a menace. He is absolutely a menace. And he's an ass clown. And unfortunately, because of what I do for a living, I got to watch the fool, or at least read all of his transcripts. Why? Because a lot of the times the info they get is close. Sometimes it's actually right. See, this is a really astute comment, man. Networking was Epstein's business, and business was good. This dude knew all kinds of people that weren't banging kids. He had to validate who he was. He had to make it look like, especially after the sex offense. He took $10 million to try to bring a bunch of physicists together to talk about space. Think he gave a shit about that? Think he was trying to get the physicists to have sex with kids? Right? Because Stephen Hawking's, if you could get a picture of him with a young girl, would really be great. You could blackmail him, right? No, but he had to legitimize who he was. So the next time he went up and talked to somebody who, donates money to Harvard, and he goes, oh yeah, I was the guy that put together that think tank for the physicists. You understand? He was a spy. If he was just a lowlife kid toucher, right? If he was just a pedophile and a chomo, we'd be having a different conversation. He was a spy. And because of that, you got to meet everybody you can. You got to validate all these things. You buy 5 jets. You let people use your jets when you're not on them. You're trying to go to Africa? Take my jet. Yeah, because you got it wired for sound. And you're hoping that they're going to say something on that jet that you can use as leverage because he was a spy. It helps to get legitimacy. Big time it does. I am still shocked at how people are not backing Rob and against Nick, but how we are on the Guthrie story. Yeah, here's the thing with the Guthrie story. We're a true crime audience, right? I have the people that watch my audience are true crime aficionados. You are smart. and you are armchair detectives. It's what we do. This just screams the person knew them, right? It just screams that. And you've got so much misinformation that is coming out in regards to, and I'm not busting on the cop. I'm not. He's got the hardest job in the world right now. But we've been told one thing and then another. We've been told the cameras were smashed. No, they weren't smashed, right? We were told that the daughter dropped the mother off. No, it wasn't the daughter. It was the son. And I got a question for everybody. We keep saying, why would she take an Uber 4 miles? Do we know that the Uber picked her up at her house? Honestly? Because I've heard that 2 different ways. I've heard that the Uber picked her up from the house, and I heard another one that said that she was Ubering from the church. There's so much misinformation coming out about this, but no matter how you church it up or how you look at it or how you slice it, it keeps coming back to these people had to have known them. Dog Lover says, we were told she would die within 24 hours without her medications. Here we are on day 5. You know what? Whine a little bit more. You got to tell my wife that. My wife keeps saying we can't do a Cults and Crims because you're doing too much work. And I'm like, I could do it. You got to yell at Reese about that. I promise. I want to. I really do. I have fun doing those. Reiner's story is in court. We have a missing person on this one. I agree. This is cutting, right? This is something that's happening in real time. And I mean, look, I've been doing true crime long enough to know that when we're looking for somebody. Second note sent to KOLD, Nancy Guthrie, house swarmed by police. Now looking for something specific. Probably a reference, right? This is often done so that they know that you're really the kidnapper. They could have said, we left this, and they're all going to run out there looking for that. If she was feeling weak, she may have decided not to drive. Yeah, no, there's a lot of reasons, but she may not have been in her house. Maybe she was 10 miles away when she took the Uber. We don't know. All right, people, look, here's the deal. First of all, my wife's probably going live in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to jump off of this. More importantly, it sounds like I got a lot of research to do before I do my night show. Not exactly sure how late it will go up, but I will be doing a show on Nancy Guthrie before I go to sleep. So be looking for that. Something is going on at Annie's house. Oh, I've said that woman, I'm leaning really hard toward, I'm sorry, the Tommaso thing. I don't think that necessarily they were wrong about that. He just, and I'm not saying him, but everything around him and the daughter looks off. Again, the blink rate, all that, it looked off. She did not look, just if you compare her to everybody else, she looked very uncomfortable, in a different kind of uncomfortable. And it could have been, I'm willing to use the, Dana Clark, good to see you. I'm willing to do the critical thinking thing and say, well, look, they're accusing her husband of being involved in this. Of course she was uncomfortable sitting there. That could be. But she looked off. And everybody seems to agree with me on that. See, Ashley G says it right now. She looked off. She just did. And I don't know. We'll find out. And I will be here for you. So I will be doing a show on this later today. Make sure that you check back. Hit that bell for notification and subscribe on the way out of there. And if you hit the bell, in theory, you should know every time I go live. She might have looked sedated. Roberta, I am serious, of the deadly variety. Now, do me a favor. That woman right there is going live in about probably 10 minutes or so. Get over there and check out Relatable Reese. You will thank me later. Oh, Roberta was saying, are you serious? 175 people watching and 67 likes. You guys can do better than that. For real. Look, if you hit like on the way out, I at least can say, this is the percentage we had of people hitting like. It proves that because I say rape, sexual assault, all that they're not pushing me out. And that's a narrative I would like. So do me a favor and smack that like button on the way out. To the best of my knowledge, they're still not charging people for that. All right, people. Between now and the next time I see you, put a little love in your heart and hit subscribe to my channel, to my wife's, and go see the Johnny Scoville at Chase to Eat South America. The hot is back. I am Tommy. I will see you on the next one. God bless. Bye-bye.